Yo, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel, CBC Cole's Boxing Corner. We back at y'all again. So finally, Timothy Bradley is giving Errol Spence a shot at beating Terence Crawford, which is very surprising because in the past, it's well documented that Timothy Bradley did not give Errol Spence any chance of beating Terence Crawford, which is odd to me because it's boxing, you know, everyone has a chance. But anywho, Timothy Bradley broke down how he may think how the fight might play out, but he's still maintaining that he's still Team Crawford and that Crawford is going to stop Errol Spence in the later rounds. Now, one of the things I did agree with is that Bud is one of the best finishers in boxing right now. Another thing that Timothy Bradley said that I do agree, Errol Spence has one of the best jabs in the game. So, and his jab is actually better than Terence Crawford. I do agree with that. I personally think that Errol Spence is going to go in there and box and utilize his jab. Timothy Bradley also said that he's a basic fighter and he's fundamentally sound, which Errol Spence has a lot of fundamentals, and I agree with that. But I don't agree with him saying that Terence Crawford is going to stop him in the ninth round or late in the later rounds. I don't think anyone is going to stop each other, but I don't know, man. Is it just me? But I kind of envision Errol Spence hurting Terence Crawford with a body shot. But we shall see, man. But check out this Timothy Bradley interview. Let me know your thoughts.
Now, you know, it's mandatory to ask you about Crawford versus Spence.
Do it.
I know your Team Crawford.
No. Look. In the past, I'm not gonna lie. I blow up Crawford. I'm gonna be honest with you. That Crawford's my guy. That's my guy. But to be honest with you, this is a 50-50 fight. It honestly is, and I'm gonna tell you why. A lot of guys say that, oh, Crawford, they don't give you no context. I'm gonna give you context right now. It's 50-50. And the reason why it's 50-50 is because you have the basic fundamentally sound fighter in the world. To me, it's Errol Spence Jr. You know, basic as hell, and see, something about the basics is hard to break through that, bro. It's so solid, he's so effective and so efficient with it. With the jab coming down the middle, the straight left hand following behind it, setting up everything off his jab, controlling that space and distance between them, killing the body on the inside, vicious body attack. So a lot of guys are saying that Spence is going to win it because of the jab and the body shots. But what happens when you have a guy that's not going to stand there and take those body punches? A guy that can actually dish, you know, those body shots as well. You have Crawford that likes to move. I don't care about the switching stuff. He likes to move. He likes to pick up his feet, go to different locations and set traps for his opponents and catching them as they're throwing at the same time. Spence sometimes lunges forward. Spence sometimes take more risks than he needs to. We seen Spence hurt in the last fight. Crawford got some devastating punching power, my dude. Devastating punching power. And you're gonna have two southpaws, because I believe Crawford gonna fight him in the southpaw stance, man. For some reason, I just think he's gonna fight him in the southpaw stance. He's not gonna be right-handed all that often. If he does, he's gonna switch real quick.
Is that his best stance, southpaw?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that we've seen in the past, I think his best stance is the southpaw stance versus the orthodox stance. I mean, I remember seeing him against what's his name? The one that just retired.
Jeff Horn?
Not Horn.
Oh, Sean Porter.
No, the other one.
Amir Khan?
No, what's the other one named? The one that
Kell Brook.
Kell Brook. So Kell Brook, you know, when he was in the orthodox stance, he was having a difficult time dealing with the jab of Kell Brook. That jab was giving him fits. But then when he went southpaw, he was able to take that jab away. You understand? So when you in the, let's say, southpaw stance versus southpaw, you know, the jab hand is straight down the middle. It's going to be straight down the middle for Spence. It's straight down the middle for both guys, just put it that way. But Spence, to me, has a better jab. You know, and Crawford's gonna have to figure out a way to take that jab away, bro. He's gonna have to figure out a way to take that jab away and counter the crap out of that jab. But ultimately, at the end of the day, let me tell you, 50-50 fight. Whoever can execute their game plan, if Spence can stay on top of Crawford with the jab, bagging him up, working his combinations, working up and down, and pressing forward without getting caught, he can win the fight. If Crawford can take all of that away from him with his movement and setting traps and luring in Spence and countering the crap out of him, using his jab, spin hooks, all that, all those things that he likes to do, he can win the fight. Whoever executes their game plan, I'm telling you right now, is going to win the fight, man. Whoever executes their game plan is going to win.
Fair point. Whoever executes their game plan is going to win. But
I'm going Crawford because I'm saying Crawford because he does.
You've always been saying Crawford, but I want you to tell me in what fashion do you see him winning? Stoppage, decision.
See, this is the problem. The problem that I see with Spence every now and then is that when he can't get to you, he pushes the tempo a little bit more and he starts making mistakes and lunging forward with his attack. You can't do that with Crawford. You start making mistakes and lunging forward and getting overly aggressive, he gonna time you with something. He's gonna frustrate. I think his job is he's gonna frustrate the crap out of Spence. He's gonna get him overly aggressive and he's gonna run him into something. And that's why I say Crawford by stoppage. It's gonna be late. I say Crawford by stoppage. I'm crazy. Yeah. Everybody say, "Oh, you crazy, Tim? You crazy, Tim?" And some people say like a car accident even stopped this man. Spence is different. He's built different. I get it. I understand. But you don't understand. You don't understand. Crawford is a different animal. Best fighter of this generation. He can make adjustments. He has more tools in the toolbox to be able to make adjustments against what Spence ultimately do, and that's to pressure you with volume and stay consistent behind his technique and his jab.
Granted, but is there something to be said for the level of opposition that you do fight? Because Spence has fought pretty much all of the top guys at 147. Crawford, not his fault, but he hasn't been able to fight those same level of guys. So is there something to be said that, hey, you think Crawford's going to win, but Spence has fought the better opposition, so does that make you kind of sway a little bit towards Spence, or are you just completely Crawford?
That could. Some guys typically would say, that great competition is definitely pushed the needle in Spence's favor because he's faced better competition, but they faced one guy that that's on both guys' resume, and that was Sean Porter. And you saw what with Sean Porter. So it's like, yeah, he fought better competition, but Spence didn't stop no Sean Porter. And people will argue say, yeah, he didn't stop him. He didn't stop him. His dad stepped in and stopped the action because his dad knew exactly what was going to happen to his son. He didn't want to witness that in front of his eyes. He didn't want to witness that knockout. Crawford's the best finisher in boxing. Him and anyway, two best finishers in boxing. And I'll give Tank, he ain't no joke too. Tank is up there too. So he still was able to figure out a way to deal with that pressure, isolate. He got hit less than Spence got hit in that fight against Sean Porter. And he took him out. TKO, even though Daddy stopped it, it's a TKO victory in favor of Crawford. So, with that being said, man.
Well, there you have it. Timothy Bradley shared his thoughts. Now, a couple of things that he didn't mention is that Terence Crawford has some bad habits as well, right? So, you go back and look at the fights. Whenever Crawford gets hit with a solid shot, it looks like to me he stares away from the game plan and almost want to brawl. Now, you don't want to brawl with Errol Spence. Errol Spence is too big and too strong, right? Another thing that he failed to mention, the other fighter that they both fight that they have in common is Kell Brook, right? He didn't mention that Errol Spence broke his eye socket. He broke Kell Brook's eye socket. But he's not going to mention that. He mentioned the Sean Porter fight, which Sean was already had in his mind that he's going to retire, and Sean Porter's dad, Kenny Porter, had in his mind, depending on how the fight go, he's going to stop it anyway. So, and also another point, just because they have two fighters in common, a fighter in common, doesn't mean that because Terence Crawford stopped Sean Porter, that he's gonna stop Errol Spence. It doesn't mean that at all. Styles make fights, right? Cliche line, we all know that. So, but anyway, share your thoughts, man. Let me know what you thought about Timothy Bradley. Does he have a point? I agreed with some of the statements that he made, and I also disagreed with some of the stuff. But he's Team Crawford anyway, always been. But I guess the only way we're gonna find out if they actually fight. So Errol Spence posted on his Instagram page maybe about a week or two ago. He used the Mike Tyson voice, and he said, "Sign the contract." So I don't know if that's a sign that Terence Crawford didn't sign his end of the contract as yet, and we're all waiting. So let's see what happened, man. Hopefully we could get this fight, and hopefully they could make an announcement real soon, because the fans want it. The fans are eager. Both in their prime, both men are the best in their weight classes, and this is for undisputed. So let's see, man. Let me know your thoughts. Give your predictions. Let me know what you thought about Timothy Bradley. Cole's Boxing Corner, CBC. Peace out.